Well, hi there, I'm 17's Elena Rusk alongside our entertainment expert Rick Bentley, and this is a new segment that I was so excited when you started talking about it because I love taking my family out to do things around town. So Rick is helping us check your schedule. What's going on? What's the heart of downtown? What's the heart of really Kern County, the state, and beyond for our weekend and week ahead?
You know, I always get tired of people telling me that, oh, there's nothing to do in Bakersfield. And I think, do you really? You even look into this?
Yeah.
There's so much to do out there. And so that's what the idea is. I want to be able to give people an idea of stuff to do this weekend, everything from locally to nationally. So and that'll give you a pick. Or you can just stay at home and lay on the couch because it is the start of March Madness.
Yes.
But if you want to get out or if you don't care about basketball, I've got some ideas.
Fantastic. So with that, we're going to start with one of the most popular Condors games of the year. Why is this one happening this week so special?
Well, it's because it's Star Wars, and everything about Star Wars is special. I mean, so anyway, March 22nd is Star Wars night for the Condors. Members of the 501st Legion will be on hand to take pictures. Look, the first 2,000 fans that are 5 and older get a Condors lightsaber. I don't think you want to give those toddlers
right.
anything. Yeah. That's presented by Clark's Pest Control. So on the ice, the team's going to wear special Star Wars themed jerseys, and those are going to be auctioned off later to benefit the Condors Community Foundation.
That's just fantastic. And this is such an exciting game because with the 501st Legion there, all dressed up, you have the music, they take pictures. It's really such a fun event, not only for the kids, but myself as a Star Wars fan.
Yes.
It feels very magical.
You know, Star Wars is one of those movies that's being generationally handed down. And so you see a lot of grandparents, parents, and kids at these things. And the Condors game is perfect for that. And again, you get to go home, if you're there early, you get to go home with a lightsaber. And if not, you should buy one of the jerseys. Those things are really cool. And they're look, if you're into collectibles, a special Star Wars jersey is going to be a collectible. I know I have like a bobblehead from the San Francisco Giants for their Star Wars night. So that stuff's very collectible.
It's cool. And you see people throughout the years wearing the Star Wars jersey from years past. And people are like, where'd you get that? And you can't get it. You can only get it that night.
You can only get it that night.
And it's for a good cause. So speaking of other fun things happening around town, this is a huge one for country music fans.
That's right. We're going to switch over to the Fox Theater, where Tyler Hubbard is set to perform March 22nd. Now, Hubbard's an American singer, he's a songwriter, and a musician who rose to fame as the lead singer of the multi-platinum country music duo Florida Georgia Line. Now, if you don't like country music, the Fox Theater will also host a screening of 2001: A Space Odyssey, and that's for March 24th. And again, if you're a science fiction fan, 2001: A Space Odyssey should definitely be on your list of movies you've seen, especially on a big screen. I think we don't realize that that film was so far ahead of its time visually, and so to get to see it on a big screen, I think you should make a trip out to the Fox to see that.
I really like that the Fox does those Monday Cults and Classics screenings to bring those old movies back, and you can sit in the theater with the fresh popcorn and enjoy. And 2001 on the big screen really is so much fun. If you by chance haven't seen it, take a date, a girlfriend, a date, and just go have fun.
Now, I will tell you this. I remember seeing 2001 the first time in the theaters, and it just blew my mind. I don't know if I knew what was going on, but sometimes there's movies that they're so visually stunning and so groundbreaking. Go with it. Yeah, I think you'll still enjoy it. People have argued over and over again about the ending. So that's, again, one of the fun things about movies. You get to argue about what you like, what you don't like, or what you understand, and what you don't understand.
And have theories and expectations and all that stuff. I just love that. And so then, of course, the Fox is now operating the Nile. And so we've really seen their community calendar at the Nile Theater growing. And they have a great performance this week.
Yeah, I know. I worked last weekend, and it was a Christian reggae performer. So now this next weekend over at the Nile, you can catch Valerie, which is a tribute to Amy Winehouse, and that's going to be on March 22nd.
So this is fantastic. So this is a tribute because, as we know, Amy Winehouse passed several years ago, sadly, from a drug overdose. But she was such a voice of a generation in her short career. And so this tribute artist looks like her, sings like her, and we get to see her right here in town and appreciate Amy's music all over again.
And if you've not been to the Nile since they sort of reopened it for these sort of musical events, it's very intimate. It's very small. There's not a lot of seats. I mean, you stand a lot, but that's the way concerts should be sometimes, especially especially when these sort of, and so you can really get up close and personal with a performer. I just feel like the Foxes are sort of you're in your seat, that sort of perform. But I like the now it's almost like a party atmosphere more than the Fox is. But I'm telling you, and Amy's work is incredible. We lose so many musicians at a young age, and she's a great example of somebody we lost way too early.
Absolutely, I agree. And so we're going to continue our entertainment buzz around town. I have a young friend, one of my daughter's fellow ballerina dancers, is performing in the production at the Stars.
Okay, yeah. So, Once on an Island, it's the musical. It's continuing at the Stars through March 29th. Now, this production is based on the 1985 novel My Love, or The Peasant Girl. It's about a peasant girl, which is a retelling of the Hans Christian Andersen's The Little Mermaid. But it's set in the Caribbean.
Interesting. Okay. And I love that we have some clips of this performance.
Yeah.
The costumes look great. The singing, as you could hear there in the background, is incredible. But look at these sets. Stars really goes above and beyond with each performance.
It boggles me sometimes how great we get these sort of performances from Stars. I mean, this is a small theater, but and again, just for people to know, it looks like this production, this play is going to be on Broadway soon. And so if you want your chance, I know a lot of people who saw Wicked in San Francisco when they had previews there, got to say, oh, I got to see it before everybody else caught on to it. Well, if you want to know this production before it gets to Broadway, you can see it locally, and a very good production of it. It's not like Three Guys in a Garage. This is a really beautiful production. And it's local talent, and it's a dinner theater, so it's a great night. I love going out with my girlfriends. I love taking my mom. My husband's like, I can go because I get a good meal, so that's exciting. Exactly. It's a win for everybody. It really is. And so now we wanted to move on to the emo night. This is speaking my language. As a child of the 90s, emo music was our thing in high school and college. And now this is kind of what seems to be an amalgamation of some of those greatest emo hits. Yeah, emo night. It's coming to Bakersfield at 8 p.m. March 21st. It will be held at the Speakeasy Bar and Grill. That's at 1933 Event Center. So the show it's going to feature music from such performers as Taking Back Sunday, Fall Out Boy, which is one of my favorites, Panic at the Disco, My Chemical Romance, and a lot more. So the tickets are ranging from $18 to $25. So you're not gonna go broke going to see it. But if you like that era of music, as you've already said you do, I do. I would suggest going out there tonight. It's going to be a fun evening. And the Speakeasy is a great location because it's there in the Northwest. There's plenty of parking. Yeah. You're kind of secluded, and so you walk into this building and you're like, oh, this is kind of cool. And like a Speakeasy, you walk through the door and you're transformed into this really cool venue where the music surrounds you, and it's so great. Yeah. And so this is one of those sort of hidden gem things. If we ever want to have that segment, the hidden gem of Bakersfield, I would put this on in that kind of list. That's a really good idea. We should do hidden gems. Another one for our idea list. Okay, so then we're looking for something a little quieter after emo. Maybe you don't want to have your eardrums blown out. Exactly. Even though I'm always kind of on board for that. Yeah, and if you're old like me, sometimes you like the quiet stuff. Yeah. So if you're looking for something a little more serene, it's the Bakersfield Psychic and Wellness Healing Art Expo. It's going to be held March 22nd and 23rd. Okay, this is being billed as a weekend of spiritual growth and holistic healing. It's going to be held at the 4 Points by Sheraton. Yeah, that's here in Bakersfield at 5101 California Avenue. I'll enjoy that. So it's psychic and holistic. I think of this as teaching you how to meditate, perhaps, teaching you, like you see on their poster here, some crystals, some incense burning, the idea of really becoming one with your body and mind. Yeah, and you know what, in this day and age with so much going on in the world that's so horrible, and it seems like we're beat to death by negative news and so forth, I think we could all use a little bit of calming, and and this is a good way just to sort of figure, even if it's just buying a crystal and being able to just meditate off of that, or you tell yourself, I'm going to take my crystal and I'm going to sit for 5 minutes and turn off the world. We all need that sort of mental health, and I think we need it more than ever right now. And if you've never done it before, this is a great way to get in touch with people who are experts here locally and can teach you all of those calming ways. But maybe we're going to ramp things right back up. I found some great video from The Amazing Race, and I saw that this was on your list of great things to do. Yeah. I always get asked by people, because I've written about television all my life, of how do I get on, The Amazing Race, how to get on Survivor. And, those process, I'm telling you, having gone through trying out for a game show, it's a long, long process, and you have to commit so much time for it and so much energy. But if you always wanted to be on The Amazing Race and don't want to travel the world, well, you can just stay right here at home. The Bakersfield Amazing Race is for you. Now, the Amazing Race is coming to Bakersfield at 9:30 a.m., March 22nd. And yes, you're going to have to get up a little early for that. And so teams of 2 to 4 people will solve clues, they'll face challenges, and navigate the city. Now, each registration donates directly to a local charity, so that's a win for everybody. And the first place team will win $400. It's not the $1 million Survivor money, but $400 is not
That's a
bad,
lot of money.
okay? Okay, the start and finish will be at Wall Street Alley in downtown Bakersfield. So even if you want to compete, I would say go down. If you just want to go on and cheer on, or at least help some of the competitors cheat, if they can't figure out a puzzle, you could say, hey, maybe you should think of this.
Right,
So,
I have an idea.
Yeah.
It's so much fun. So now I wanted to move on to new movies, because you're an entertainment expert and there's so much happening. So the big film for March 21st, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, not the old animated classic.
Nope.
Disney's going live action again.
Yep, this is their continuing series on basing live action shows on their past animated efforts, and I think this is one that it's had so much controversy. I think it's going to have a bigger crowd than they're expecting, just because people are going to be curious to see what all the buzz has been about. Okay. And there's been a lot of negative buzz about it.
That's unfortunate, because I don't like hearing negative buzz about a person or a person's skin color, but there are several concerns about this movie in several different ways.
Yeah, especially you can see from this clip right here, there was a big controversy over the fact that you have a film that has an automatic place for 7 little people to be cast, and then we use CGI versions. And the clips I see, the more I look at this, those dwarves are kind of creepy looking.
It's a little strange.
And if this is supposed to be a kid's fairy tale, I don't know if that's going to work. And they've adapted, they've changed the story somewhat. I mean, back when the original Snow White came out, it was okay to have a prince save you. Maybe these days, that goes against the sort of thinking. So we're going to see some changes in the story. There's been a battle between the 2 stars because they're on different sides of the political spectrum. I mean, there's just been a lot going on. So it'll be interesting to see if Snow White gets an audience, despite the fact that there's been that much controversy out there. But there's also going to be a lot of people who remember the original, and they're still going to want to see any version of it. So
right, many people hear Disney and they're in no matter what.
They're in no matter what.
Yeah. Okay, so we're talking much more about this on our segment when we talk about the 5 best and 5 maybe not so best Disney live action adaptations, and you can check that out on kgt.com. But of course, we also want to talk about, if you're staying at home, let's talk about a film that is still in theaters that you can see with the little ones. Or is this one for the little ones?
Yes, it is. That's what's so good about Zoopocalypse. I want to call attention to a film that's in theaters called Zoopocalypse. Now, it's a great blend of scary moments, but it's also got child-friendly characters. Okay, it's a tale of zoo animals who are turned into zombies that will entertain all. I was looking if I got to talk with the 2 directors of the film, Rodrigo Perez Castro and Ricardo Curtis, and they talked about this film to me. Hey, first off, congratulations on the film.
Thank you very much.
I want to talk, both of you have histories of working on projects that have had very different animation styles. So when you come together and you have to come up with the style that you're both going to use for this, what's the discussion like?
The first thing was, let's do something completely different.
That is exactly it. The first thing is always like, well, for any artist, really, you want to do something new. You want to do something that no one has ever seen before. And we've worked on a lot of really great projects. And often you get to do a lot of kind of similar things. But because this was our film, which was an opportunity, it was an independent film, that, the only people we had to please was ourselves. So if we're going to do that, we might as well do something that's cool and unique and that kind of stands out on its own. And, I would give examples of, like, if you see an Aardman film, it only looks like an Aardman film. If you see a Leica film, it only looks like a Leica film. When you see Zoopocalypse, we want you to look at Zoopocalypse and say that is
Just Zoopocalypse.
That's it. That's all there is. No other film looks like it.
Yeah, you've killed the shorthand that we critics tend to use, like, well, it looks like, well, no, it doesn't. I think that's really the power of this. I'm just curious, though, when you start with the name Clive Barker being thrown out, does that impact your brain when you start thinking about how different you want to be?
Uh, Absolutely. I mean, it started from the beginning. When the project was first brought to me by Steve Oman, the principal at Copperheart, and he had said, I've got this. I've been working with Clive Barker, and he's got this graphic novel that never was published, but I want to make it into a family-friendly animated film. So I was like, wait a second, Clive Barker, family-friendly. That doesn't really work. And then he pitched it to me. I was like, you know what? I think we can make this work. And not only can we make this work, we can make this really unique and really stand out. And I felt that, I got to bring on someone else who really knows this space and really loves it. So that's when I brought in Rodrigo to be a part of this.
I'm a huge horror fan, so when he just told me it's a zombie invasion in a zoo, it was like, well, we have to make it. It's such a natural thing. Like, of course, like it's such a simple, brilliant concept, and there's so much room there to have a lot of fun. So I'm a huge animal and horror lover. So having mutants, monsters, animals together was just like a match made in heaven.
And I definitely have to give props to Clive Barker because, I mean, he really gave us the freedom to do what we wanted to do on this. He said, here's my concept, go. And we did. We went, and of course there was the pressure at the end of it, after it's delivered.
Because he was very hands off.
And it was like, I don't think I really like it. I'm going to take my name off this.
But he loved it. So much that he's in the poster now. So.
But there has to be a point where you have this conversation of you want this to be for as broad enough audience as possible. And in your film, there's a scary element to it, but I don't think you ever cross that line that's going to terrify young kids. Was there a lot of talk about where that line was and what we have to be careful that we can and cannot do?
I think we only talked about
the biggest conversation. But we had a very simple philosophy, which was like we knew we wanted to give kids a very fun, spooky ride, like the ones that we enjoyed when we were younger, like Gremlins, Ghostbusters. We really wanted kids these days to have the same kind of experience, something that tonally felt similar. So the philosophy was very simple. Like we just said, we're gonna make them have like this fun, like jump scares, but at the same time, for every jump scare, there
has to be a laugh.
And that was the balance.
So, you can ramp up the tension and get that kind of those little heebie-jeebies, that feeling, and then you release it with the laugh, and then allows you to set you up again, and then over and over and over again, and that just makes for an entertaining film.
And then we had, of course, the character of Poot, the hippie. The pygmy hippo,
right?
But she's never scared, and she really is there for for the very young members of the audience to feel a little bit more safe and just be reminded that we're gonna survive this. It's gonna be okay.
Yeah, I love that. I do felt like that was a great sort of pause button for any kid that might be scared. But you also have something there for adults that I thought was really great in your sort of narrator of sort of describing how movies work. And I thought that was a wonderful, smart thing that probably kids aren't going to pick up on, but adults are going to go, oh yeah, it is time for the second commercial. This is going to happen, that type of thing. Was that in the script from the beginning, or was that something
that was a great idea from our writer Steve Hubben, also producer, who like us is a huge cinephile, and he thought, what if this lemur character actually has this, a little bit like that character from Scream, the original Scream, right? That like can anticipate a little bit and tell people what he knows based on his knowledge, and I think it worked. It's a fan favorite already.
Yeah. I mean, we felt that Xavier, that character, he wouldn't tell the kids what's going on because they're not used to this sort of thing. Right. They don't know what this actually is. But at the same time, it's a bit meta, right? So that the adults who have seen this a zillion times, but they never see it, actually just rolled out for them, so
Right.
that they're like, oh, yeah, that's why this works on me. This is what this is supposed to happen here.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
But
Yeah,
we had
yeah.
to be careful that it was not just exposition, right? Like we wanted to make sure that
You're right.
it was enough information that you could sort of get it if you're a cinephile or a fan of horror films, but that it didn't feel like we were also just like being so didactic about it, right?
Yeah. So we got about 30 seconds here. Real quick question. Most of this takes place at night. As an animator, is that a good thing because you can have different light sources, or is it a tough thing because you have different light sources?
It's a tough thing.
Exactly.
Okay.
So it ended up being a really great sort of limitation, where we're able to get those really dynamic, dark, and deep lights, but at the same time, it allows us to be very kind of broad at the same time, and we definitely work with color as well, and it's not just the lighting. It's not.
I mean, that's
just
where we
darkness.
drew inspiration from Dario Argento's Suspiria in terms of just how like you can go very crazy with all the
Yep.
the very bright and saturated colors and making it interesting and not making it dull in any second.
Yeah, and being very colorful is another way that we can bring in the younger audiences and not scare them too much, to know that it's safe, it's okay, it's night, but it's bright.
Yeah, well, it works so well. I could talk to you forever about this film, but they're wrapping me up. So thanks
Next
for the
time.
time, gentlemen. Thanks a lot.
Thank
All
you.
right, thank you.
That was so much fun. I love seeing their idea from the creation to the execution to now it's
Exactly.
out there and their excitement.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of people never get to see what the directors do. We always talk, and we do. We concentrate on the stars, and that makes sense. But these guys are so talented, and they're so passionate.
Yes.
It's an independent film. It's not like a Disney film or Pixar or even. So everything is in this there for them, and you can tell. They're invested and they're happy and it's doing well, and I'm happy to see that.
And it looks delightful. Is it quite funny? It looked like it was
It's funny. It's sweet. It's there's some it's kind of a little scary, but I don't think it's going to frighten, terrorize toddlers. Even when a bunny turns into a zombie, it's still a cute bunny.
Cute.
Yeah.
Okay, I love that. So with that, if you don't want to head out to the theater for Snow White, or if you don't want to
Right.
try and stream that, what are some other streaming options that we have for the upcoming weekend?
Well,
Sorry, not streaming, new releases.
new
that is,
releases.
yes.
Yeah. Well, as far as DVDs are concerned, there are several new ones coming out. Moana 2, which was a big Disney film from this past year, is now available on DVD or one of the digital platforms. Baby Girls, I also highly recommend the first season of the Max series Penguin. This is just an amazing version of the Batman story, and so I would say of all that new stuff that's available, you should definitely check out the Penguin.
Okay.
It's not the Penguin you've known from the '65 Batman series. It's not
Right.
that. No, this is a dark. This is more Sopranos than it is Batman, and the Penguin is definitely he's a lackey who wants to be the mob boss, and. Colin Farrell, if I didn't tell you Colin Farrell starred in it, you just looking at it, you'd never know he's under such incredible makeup. You can see him, even the waddle, the way he walks, he has just been completely into the Penguin. So I'm telling people, it's on Max. If you have that streaming service, you can watch it there. But if you don't want to pay for Max, this is available on DVD or again on a digital platform. You can rent it, and I'm telling you, this is one of those that you're going to spend the entire weekend watching all episodes.
That's cool. I really enjoy something that I can sit down with my husband and watch after the kids have gone to bed and
Yeah,
we're
'cause-
having
yeah.
our we time, because this is not for kids.
Yeah, make sure the kids are nowhere in their room for this, because they're brutal moments, and again, I love that there's programming for adults,
Yeah.
as there are programming for kids.
Yes, exactly. And so with that, if you are looking for something a little more family friendly, of course, we're all about TV here. We're all about NBC. Anything specifically on the NBC lineup that you wanted to chat about?
Well, I do want to draw attention to the fact that the season finale of NBC's comedy Happy's Place is coming up this week. That's at 8 o'clock on March 21st. That's the series with Reba McEntire, where she's running a bar and she meets a sister she didn't know before. Again, this is not Cheers, but it's a sweet comedy. Reba's always, sort of dependable when it comes to
Yes.
comedy. And so she holds this thing together. She's got a great supporting cast. that includes her husband and people she's worked with in the past, so she's very familiar. So I would say definitely this is one of those shows that, and again, if you've missed it and you feel like, oh, it's a season finale, well, look, that's going to be available on Peacock, so you can go watch the past episodes. Also new, coming up, you might want to check out The Residents.
Okay.
That's on Netflix. It's an inside story of the White House staff and the lives of the workers who that share the White House with the First Family.
Oh, okay.
And I also keep pushing The Pit on Max and Daredevil on Disney+.
Okay.
Both of these are very adult series. Pit is the ER for the 21st century, and Daredevil is a continuation of, there was a series on Netflix for a while. They've taken that story and continued it ahead. If you're a Marvel fan, this is really a good version of Daredevil.
And Daredevil's the one, he's the blind superhero, is that correct?
He's a blind lawyer.
Okay.
But because of a radioactive accident, Marvel's big on radiation.
Yeah.
Yeah. He can literally see like a bat with sonar.
Okay.
But when he's a lawyer, everybody thinks he's blind. But when he's Daredevil, they don't know he can't see.
I think that's pretty cool. And when we had the movie adaptation, it kind of fell flat. So you're saying this series is the way to go?
Well, it was Ben Affleck, and he was horrible as Daredevil. Absolutely horrible. So do not hold that against this series. It's much better.
Okay, well, I enjoy that. So we're running out of time, but we did want to take a quick glimpse into the future. Anything else that you wanted to touch on here locally?
Well, this is kind of a personal thing, and I apologize if it comes across that way. But the 2025 Kern High Film Festival is going to be held this year at the Fox Theater. That's on March 25th. Now, this event celebrates students across the Kern School District for excellence in a number of categories, from film to general advertising, public service, you name it. And I kind of wanted to mention it because I'm going to be there to host the ceremonies where we'll be handing out awards for all sorts of things, from costume design to lighting. It's a great way to look at some local talent. And I got to judge the short film part of it, and I was surprised at how good these kids are. They are really talented, and maybe it's the generation because of their phone and videos on their phone. They know none of the films can be longer than 5 minutes, so it's an expansion on TikTok, but they are really well done.
That's just fantastic. And I believe we have a short clip of that as well to show you.
From the classrooms to the big screens, come celebrate my fellow student filmmakers as they celebrate their talents.
Oh, that music gave me chills. And like you
Yeah.
said, there's so much talent there. So it's going to be
Yeah.
really exciting to see the finalists.
I think it is. And again, if you don't like award shows, we're promising this thing to run about 45 minutes. So it's
Nice.
not like you're going to have to give up your entire night. But again, come out and support some local, very talented local kids.
And see some great work that they've put
See some
together.
great work, yeah.
I love it. So this is Check Your Schedule with Rick Bentley. We're going to be doing this every week because there's so much happening around town.
Yeah, and we're going to try to collect everything from local to national, just to give you a taste. Look, we couldn't hit everything going on, but we're going to try to hit the highlights. We're going to try to give you the best of what's happening. And, feel free to give us feedback on it. If there's stuff you want us to talk about, let us know.
Exactly. All right. Thanks so much. Have a great day.